Hey, this is Walter Jones.
This is Austin St. John.
And you're listening to Ranger Danger.
Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Matt and Michael's Ranger Danger.
Welcome once again to Mighty Morphin Ranger Danger. This is the podcast where we watch episodes of the TV series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and after that we discuss it. We are now in the middle of an epic trilogy of episodes.
I wouldn't go that far yet.
It's a trilogy of episodes.
That's true.
This will be episode 105 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it is entitled Return of the Green Ranger Part 2. Now, after the insanity of last week's episode, I'm not sure where we could go from here.
Historically, the middle parts of three-parters have not been good on this show.
I think even more than not being good, they don't further any sort of plot points whatsoever.
Yes.
It's the definition of a filler episode. So, yeah, I guess
It's always weird because the first and last episodes always pack too much in.
Yeah.
So
They definitely have pacing problems in the show. It'll be interesting to see where they go, because last episode had some genuinely funny moments.
Yep.
And plenty of interesting bits.
Mm-hmm.
So if that keeps up, maybe we'll have our first ever decent midpoint episode.
yeah, I mean, if I had to guess,
Yeah.
I'd say both Tommies probably fight.
Yep.
And the Rangers faff around in 1780s Angel Grove.
Yep.
And then that probably is the end of the episode.
I'm guessing you're right.
Yeah.
Before we do go and watch that, though,
Yep.
we should dive into the space dumpster and pull out some mail, because it's been building up.
Yeah, before we do that, Matt, if people want to send us mail, where
Yeah.
can they do that?
Well, we actually have an interweb address
Right.
designed specifically for that purpose.
That makes sense.
So if you send an interweb email to rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com, it'll end up in our space dumpster and we'll give it a read.
Right.
If you just want to head to our website, that's www.rangerdangerpodcast.com. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube and Google Plus and TuneIn. Plus, we have a website, rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop, which is where you can purchase all sorts of fun goods. No services, just goods.
Just goods.
Yep.
All right.
Mail.
Yeah. Matt, do you want to lift the lid of the space dumpster?
Yeah, all right. Let's do it. We need to get some sort of spring-loaded hinge or something.
All right,
on
I
this
got
thing.
it. I got it.
Okay. Oh,
All right.
my muscles.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I pulled something.
That's good. Before
Is
I
it?
get to... I mean, it's good. You're getting a workout. Before I get to kind of the emails that I want to read...
Yes.
Corbin, Eric, Jack, and Sean...
Yep.
all sent very nice emails to us that I'm not going to read out because they were mostly just them being very nice to us. And
We're too self-conscious to read that sort of stuff.
there's no way I could read 4 emails that are just people being really nice to us.
Yeah.
Jeremy, with a G, our old friend.
Oh, Jeremy.
No. I'm so sorry, Jeremy. He sent us one of those emails and also asked if we would consider playing Fantasy Zordon with an old season.
I think the only issue there is that we have some knowledge, even if we haven't seen all
Yep.
the episodes, of what happens in the broad sense, and I'm worried that would skew it a bit.
Yeah, my feeling has always been that we want it to be fun for you guys as well.
Yeah.
And my worry would be that although there is absolutely no reason for anyone to cheat in Fantasy Zordon, it would be possible for someone to just watch all the episodes, know what was going to happen, and choose the ideal team.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we will. We might consider it. I think at the moment, too, the seasons are a bit too long.
Yeah.
It drags a bit.
And I think, too, like, as much as I don't have a great memory as Zero, for example,
Yep.
I know in broad strokes what happens in Zero. You kind of don't.
Vaguely, kind of, yeah.
So I'd have a bit of an advantage.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
So-
Machine Empire? Is
Yeah, that's
that a
right.
thing?
Yep.
Yeah. So we will definitely kind of consider it as we go forward, but we don't have any immediate plans in the future. But the good news is we'll probably keep doing it when we go to Dino Supercharge next year.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Let's get to some emails, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So this one is from Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. And so Brian said he loved our little special about friends as Power Rangers.
Oh, thanks.
Which is nice. He said he was searching YouTube for some old Power Rangers panels, like convention panels. And in one of them, the producers were asked at what point they knew the show was going to be a big deal. And the producer said that for him, it was when someone in Friends made a joke about like a Power Ranger.
Oh, wow.
And they realised that they were having an impact on that scale.
Yeah.
He also says that growing up, he didn't really have an opinion on Rocky.
Yeah.
But rewatching, he would agree that Rocky is terrible.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that everyone sees the world my way.
He thinks there's some specific moments in Zeo that really make you dislike him.
I think I have a vague idea what you're talking about, and I think that may have also been what sort of influenced my Rocky hatred. I mean, he's obviously already clearly terrible.
Yes.
But certainly...
I don't hate him. Like, I don't like the character.
Yeah.
But I'm not hating him yet.
It'll come.
Okay. So he says he thinks with better acting and writing, Rocky could have been a really good character.
Yeah, that's true of all characters, though.
That is the way it works. Someone on Twitter, and I'm so sorry I don't remember, described Rocky as 3 slices of bread pretending he was a sandwich. Which is incredible. But Matt, the reason that I mention it is that is a piece of food that you consume.
It is, yeah. I do.
Do you want to tell people about toast sandwiches?
Yeah, I love toast sandwiches. I highly recommend toast sandwiches.
So a toast sandwich, for those of our listeners who can't put it together, is a piece of toast.
Look, I'll handle it.
Okay.
Let me do this like Jamie Oliver style.
All right.
I'll break it down so you can do it at home. You get a single piece of bread, preferably white bread, preferably very cheap bread. You put 1 slice in the toaster. Get it pretty well toasted so it's nice and crunchy. You pop it out, and then on both sides, you butter or margarine it, whatever your preferred spread is.
Of the toast, you're saying?
Yep. Both sides of the toast, you want to make sure you get lots of butter on there. Very generous with that butter. And then you get lots of pepper and salt, and you put lots of that on both sides. Mm-hmm. And then you get 2 untoasted bits of bread, and you put it on both sides of that bit of toast, and then you eat it.
I think you have to say jubbly wobbly to be doing that Jamie Oliver style now. You have to serve it on like a breadboard.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's actually delicious. It's a texture thing, I think, because the soft bread with the very crunchy toast and the salt and the pepper, it really does good things in your mouth.
So I sent Matt that link as a joke when he was poor and sad.
Yeah.
And Matt started eating them. Yeah. So...
And they're really good.
There you go.
Michael refuses to try it for some reason.
I don't want to learn that a thing that I already eat a lot of bread. I do not need to learn that the thing that I love is an additional piece of bread.
Yeah. It's so bad for you.
All right, this next email is from Jamil, I believe is how it's pronounced. Mm-hmm. Apologies, Jamil, if that's not quite how it's pronounced. So he said he discovered the podcast a week and a half ago.
Oh.
When he emailed it. That was nearly a month ago now. And he was already up to episode 53.
Oh, my God.
Which...
Oh, why would you do that to yourself?
I mean, I like this podcast, but... Dude, take a break. In fact, he says he's forsaken all other podcasts until he catches up.
Well, you should forsake all other podcasts all the time.
That I understand. I tend to kind of get a new podcast, catch up, and then add things to my rotation.
Yeah.
So he says that he's looked ahead in the podcast feed and sees that we were past the power transfer, which we obviously are.
Yeah.
And he knows that we were hard on Jason at the start.
Yeah.
But... he wants us to know that Rocky is the fucking worst.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Yeah, there's a common theme to many of these episodes.
Yeah.
And then he just said, thanks, and he's looking forward to listening to more of us discovering strange homosexual subtext in his favourite kids' TV show.
Hooray!
So there you go.
I don't call it strange homosexual subtext. It's just homosexual subtext.
I mean, some of it's a bit strange.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so
there's some strange heterosexual subtext as well, to be fair.
This next email is from Jason.
Oh, my God. Jason.
Jason is from...
The first Power Ranger.
Jason is from Seymour, TN, which I guess is Tennessee, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I might look that up.
All right. I like the mystery of it, but that's fine.
Okay, let's find out. TN
is, drumroll, ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Well, it could be Tonbridge in England.
Ah, I wasn't prepared for that.
No, but Seymour is a place in Tennessee.
Okay, it's probably Tennessee.
It's probably Tennessee.
Yeah.
So he's been listening to the podcast for about a year and has been getting caught up.
Oh, great.
It brought back his love for Power Rangers.
Well, I'm genuinely happy that was the case.
And he hit such a nostalgic overload that he bought himself a red Power Ranger helmet.
Oh, wow, that's a good helmet.
Yeah, so that is from a guy called Aniki Cosplay who does basically everyone's Power Ranger helmets.
I've heard that. It's a very cool helmet.
It's a very cool helmet. And he said Jason is his favourite because they share a name, which makes sense. There's never been a podcast, a Power Ranger called Matt or Michael.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, we've talked about this before, haven't we? Yeah.
So
that's weird.
They would be our favourite automatically,
I'm
think.
sure there's been a Mike.
There has been a Mike, but he wasn't a Power Ranger. He was the Magna Defender.
Okay, look, the Magna Defender's pretty cool.
The Magna Defender is pretty rad. He's got a giant bull, right?
Don't put yourself in my league where I don't have anything.
Right, okay, that's fair.
There's tiers here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he also says that he found on Reddit some information about the upcoming MMPR movie. The casting sides for the film were leaked.
Yep.
So he's attached to them and wanted to know our opinion of them. I think we've said before, I don't really want to read them.
We're trying to keep ourselves pretty fresh so we can come at it with fresh eyes.
I will say that I did hear some people being kind of negative towards, I think, what was in them.
Yeah.
It sounded like some pretty kind of heavy character drama surrounding the Rangers getting their powers. I would like to take this moment to say that what's in casting sides isn't necessarily even from the film.
Yeah.
It could be from an earlier draft or custom written. And I think in particular for something like this, I might write a scene where the Power Rangers go through an emotional beat and then get their powers so that those actors cover all
certain
of those
beats.
different notes in their auditions.
Yeah.
Or it could be what's in the movie.
Yeah. I think it's one of those unfortunate situations where we're so starved for information that any bits that leak out are sort of blown out of proportion just because we have nothing else to go off.
Yeah.
But yeah, my preference is to wait for some official stuff.
Yeah. Apparently they've announced that they will be filming the film in Vancouver.
Oh, great.
Which is not hugely surprising.
No.
And apparently casting is underway at the moment.
Okay.
So I'd be surprised if we don't hear cast announcements before the end of the year.
I think that'll be the moment when it finally seems like it's going to happen.
They're going to start filming in January, reportedly.
Okay.
So I'd say probably cast announcements and official suit reveals. Because if they're going to be shooting in January outdoors, they're going to want to get their official photo out there before press photos and paparazzi photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, in the next couple of months, I'm expecting we'll hear something. And then a trailer at Comic-Con seems likely, because that'll be 6 months before the movie comes out.
Yeah, and a teaser, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this email is from Sean.
Yep.
And Jack also wrote in to say the same thing. We said in a previous episode that there is not a Penguin Zord.
Yes.
It turns out, Matt, that there is a Penguin Zord.
Oh, what?
In Jungle Fury.
Wow.
And you think you're on board with that.
Yep.
But I haven't shown you the picture where he has a surfboard yet.
What? But it's CG.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be an actual penguin.
Yeah. No, I mean... I mean, like, it's a CG sword, not a practical sword.
There may also be a practical Zord.
Yeah.
That image is clearly a render.
He looks pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
He's a cool penguin on a surfboard, so...
Yeah. So,
I'm down.
when we get up to Jungle Fury in Sean jokes 2024, but
Probably
I looked it up
accurate.
and it's actually 2026. So when we get up to... We really are going to have to figure out a way to get through this show faster.
Yeah.
When we get up to Jungle Fury, I'm very much looking forward to seeing a yellow penguin.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder if I'll like penguins as much when I'm 39.
I mean... We made a bad decision, Matt.
Yep.
So Kenny, who's
Yes.
written to us previously, wrote in.
Yep.
We talked in the first part of the wedding about themed weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's been to a video game themed wedding.
Ooh.
It was his friends Anne and Chris. They're both huge gamers. So they decorated every table was a specific video game.
That's clever.
So he sat at the Final Fantasy table with some potions and figurines on it.
Sweet.
He also remembers that there was a Metal Gear table with a cardboard box in the middle. Sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine it for me, but that sounds like the sort of thing that someone who, a couple who really love video games, it's perfect for.
Have you thought about weddings, Michael?
Oh, yeah, Matt. I've thought a lot about weddings with all the not girlfriends I've had.
No, but it doesn't mean you can't speculate.
No, not at all. Basically, whatever the person I'm marrying wants, within reason, let's just roll with that.
Okay.
I'm not fussy. Although, if it's possible for me to not wear a tie, in fact, if it's possible for me to wear a t-shirt and jeans, that's the goal.
Right. Okay. I can see you saying you're not fussy, but as soon as like invitations and stuff like that.
Oh no, I'm going to be picky about the design of my wedding.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but the actual events,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
What about you? Do you think about your wedding?
Yeah, on occasion. I definitely want something simple, I think. Not too many people. Again, I'd like to avoid the whole, suit and tie. Yeah, I've been to a lot of weddings lately, and I'm sort of over stuffy and formal and expensive. I think just sort of outdoor wedding, hang out around some trees and drink some cider. Sounds like a good time.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, if that's what you enjoy.
Yeah, I like trees.
All right, one more email before
Yep.
we get to Return of the Green Ranger Part 2. This one's from Brian.
Yes.
So Brian was emailing a different podcast that he listens to and ended up mentioning us. And as a result, one of the guys from that podcast started listening to us. And apparently they mentioned Ranger Danger on the show.
Wow, what podcast is
that? Was the Boys Meet Boy Meets World podcast.
I'm already on board.
Which is a podcast about two guys doing what we're doing to Power Rangers with Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Have you seen any Boy Meets World?
A very small amount.
I've seen no Boy Meets World. I have seen a couple episodes of Girl Meets World, which is a modern spin-off.
Yep.
Because I have two young cousins who I occasionally babysit.
Right. Is Girl Meets World good?
As far as modern Disney Channel shows go, or Nickelodeon, or whichever network it's on,
Not bad.
it's not bad.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're into Boy Meets World, probably go check out Boys Meet Boy Meets World.
Yeah, that's got to be a mouthful for those guys to cover every week.
I'm sure they get used to it.
Yeah. He also wants to bring up a bit of trivia about this episode that we're watching now.
Yep.
Which is exciting. So, in this episode, there are some creepy rat monsters, apparently.
Oh, God.
That we have not gotten up to, but I'm instantly excited about there might be a different weird kind of monster this episode that we're not expecting.
Yeah.
So he says these monsters that we're going to see were intended for use in MMPR, the movie.
Yep.
But were scrapped from the film when they realised how poor the quality was.
So they put them on the show.
But so Saban was not going to waste some perfectly good rat monsters.
Although not perfectly good from the sounds of things.
So they're going to be on this episode or the next episode.
Great.
So I look forward to seeing some reject rat monsters.
Yeah.
And he also wanted to let us know that apparently The Wedding is the favourite Power Rangers episode of Richard Stephen Horowitz, who plays Alpha's voice. Because he got to be evil and sarcastic and
Yeah, that makes sense.
step outside of Alpha's box.
Yeah.
And that's the email from Brian.
Great. Yeah, it's interesting. It just got me thinking about the low-level monsters like the putties.
Yep.
I just realised that we're almost done with putties. That's going to be weird.
Yes, because there's some sort of other type of monster next season.
Yeah, I know what it is, but if you don't know, I'm not going to spoil it.
They're like crows?
They are quite a bit like crows.
I have memories of them. I can picture them in my head from the film.
Yeah.
They're either called Tenga or Tengu.
Tenga,
And they may, in fact, be called one in the film and the other one in the show.
That's certainly possible.
Which is entirely... Especially for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look kind of like the Pexter, but shit.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right, I guess we must be getting to them soon.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if the putties ever come back.
I don't think so. No.
Maybe in a Countdown to Destruction, a long shot or something like that, maybe?
Possibly. But we're almost done with putties. Poor Tim.
Yeah.
Tim's built a livelihood of impersonating
We'll
putties.
have to get
he
him
goes
on.
to the park and just impersonates putties for money.
We'll have to get him on in the next 8 or 10 episodes so that he can do that voice one last time.
Yeah.
All right, Return
It's
of
a
the
very
Green
sad violin music.
Return of the Green Ranger Part 2.
Yes.
Let's watch it.
Yep.
Let's see what happens.
Let's get it over done with, pulling off a Band-Aid.
Let's go.
Well, you were right, Michael. That was a lot of filler and posturing. Yay.
I mean, you know what I appreciate about this episode, and I think the last two parts?
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving wheels.
Yes.
Like, lots of different arcs with different sections of the cast.
Yeah.
And that makes it feel a lot busier than when it's just the Rangers as a whole react to something, Lord Zed does something.
Having the Rangers in two groups, even if the
One of those
are-
groups is one person.
Yeah, is fun.
Yeah.
But it's just... Yeah, not a lot happens. There's a lot of conversation
Yeah.
this week.
We could have used a little less conversation and a little more action.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we pick up where we were last. Oh, before we get to that, the episode description on Netflix says 1774.
We were so close.
We were pretty close.
Right?
So we pick up where we were last week with the British running around and hiding inside a barn.
Yep.
The British accents are terrible.
Definitely terrible. And it's weird because the Australian lady, I mean, you know, she's not supposed to be Australian, but even her accent sounds like a bad Australian accent.
Yep.
Like, we have Australian accents, and hers is like several layers above that.
Yes.
Which is not even supposed to be Australian.
Yeah, no, she's supposed to be American / like a British settler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange.
American kids wouldn't notice the difference.
That's true.
So her name is Marissa.
Yep.
We find out. And she totally wants to bang Adam.
Yeah, but that's true of all people.
Oh, yeah, look, I imagine that will be the case with many female characters going forward.
Yeah.
And many male characters, probably.
Yeah. It's a pity that doesn't... Maybe it will next episode, but it doesn't really go anywhere in this episode.
Yeah.
They hold hands a bit, which is cute, but...
So someone says, why is everyone calling us witches? And Billy says, in the olden days, they accused everyone who was different of being a witch. I'd just like to tackle that. No, they didn't.
No.
There were plenty of people who were different, but not considered witches. In general, people were considered witches if they were, like, women who were weird.
Yes. And I think, too, it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe a few hundred years before that, maybe. But I think lumping them all into the olden days is a bit unfair on Billy's
I want
part.
to say Salem was the 1600s.
I think so.
So, like, maybe 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Not 100 years ago from now, obviously.
No.
100 years ago from then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marissa says, olden days? And everyone just goes, okay, Billy, you're the nerd. And Billy goes, right, where do I begin? Where he chooses to begin is, have you ever wondered what Angel Grove would be like in the future? Which is absolutely not where I would begin.
No, but I understand the need to get her involved in the conversation early.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, figure out what her expectations are so he can meet them.
I'm trying to figure out where I would begin. Like, how do you begin with where magical warriors with powers from an interdimensional head in a tube from 300 years in the future?
It's hard when people haven't yet seen Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's no frame of reference for time travel, I don't think. It's not like there's time travel in, like, Frankenstein, and he'd be like, you know, in Frankenstein, when Frankenstein goes back in time to Angel
I'm
Grove...
already on board, so please keep going. What happens when Frankenstein goes back in time?
Well, like, where would Frankenstein go back in time? I guess to, like, the Crusades.
Also, Frankenstein hadn't been written yet.
Oh, right.
Frankenstein's written in, like, 1820-ish.
Oh, off by 50 years.
Yeah. So he'd say, you know, in Frankenstein, and she'd say, what?
Nope.
And he'd say, you know, when Frankenstein time travels, and she'd go, even I haven't read that book, but I know that that's not what happens in that book.
All right, would it have to be like, I don't know, Much Ado About Nothing?
Yeah, you know, in Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah.
when Jane Austen goes back in time.
Is that even, like, early enough? When was Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah, I want to say Pride and Prejudice was the 1600s?
Really? I think later.
1700s?
Let's find out.
1813. Shit, it hadn't been written yet either.
Yeah.
Nothing had been written. Did they have books yet?
Yeah, they had books, I think. Was this... Oh, I'm going to show my very bad knowledge of history now, but was this before the printing press?
I really should know that.
Yeah.
Gutenberg did the printing press in like the 14 or 1500s, I
Right.
think. I've just looked up popular 1700s books.
Yep.
Gulliver's Travels.
Okay.
Robinson Crusoe.
Yep.
Um,
Well, good, you know, it's kind of like Gulliver's Travels. Like, things get big and things get small.
Mary Shelley did write a book in 1792, but it was a vindication of the rights of woman rather than that one where that dude makes a monster.
Yeah. A little less exciting.
Yeah. I mean, look, yes, definitely there were novels,
Yeah.
but none of them seem to be about time travel.
Yeah, so you talk about Gulliver's Travels and you say, look, you know how in Gulliver's Travels there's some big things. We fight big things, but we do it later than now.
Okay, we're not going to get Matt to explain time travel when we get stuck back in the past, I think, because that's... Anyway, back in the present,
Yep.
Tommy is still confronting the evil Green Ranger.
Yeah, this is one of those conversations that goes on for a long time.
The Green Ranger basically says to him, so, you going to fight me?
Yeah.
And Tommy's like,
Oh, I don't know. Conundrum. That'd be fighting myself, I guess. Except you're just a bit of my hair, and I cut hair all the time. So yeah, let's do it.
I can beat my hair.
Yeah.
On the moon, Rita goes to see Lord Zed.
Yep.
They dance.
Yeah, because Lord Zed says, I did it, mission accomplished, proving that Lord Zed, like, prematurely mission accomplished way before it was cool. Doesn't need an aircraft carrier. He just makes his proclamations on the moon.
mean, this is, what is this, episode 104, 105?
5.
He came in episode 61.
Yeah.
So this is his 40th plan.
Yeah.
He must know by now that it is not over until the Power Rangers are literally dead.
Yes.
Just because it looks like you've succeeded a bit. That is absolutely no... You've got 22 more minutes of succeeding and your plan will be over.
Yes. You should not dance at this point.
No. Goldar gets cross that they're dancing. I'm a bit cross that they're dancing too, to be honest.
He has this, like, reaction that's kind of like, oh, mum and dad are dancing and they're kind of being sexy with each other. It's really gross.
It's like they're either fighting with each other and I have to pass messages between them.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to fuck.
Yeah.
And I have to just not
Be around
here for this.
Yeah. Oh,
So we go back to the past
Yep.
and Billy ends his discussion with, and basically that's how we travelled back in time.
it's so lazy.
I want to know everything he told her. Did he tell her about Zordon? Did he tell her about Alpha? How did he explain what a robot is? Did he tell her about Rita? Did he tell her about going to the moon? Astronauts went to the moon. That would have blown this girl's fucking mind.
I hope he just, like, told her about hot dogs. He was like, you should get on this. You could be the inventor of hot dogs.
Because to end the sentence with, and basically that's how we travelled back in time, he has to at least explain the wizard.
Yep.
Which means he has to at least explain that they fight monsters. It's just... I need every minute of that conversation to be on film.
I think you could, like, if you just said, you understand the concept of yesterday, right? And she's like, yes. And it's like, okay,
Today.
imagine if you went back to yesterday. And she'd be like, okay. It's like, yeah, we've done that just with a lot of yesterdays and a wizard did it.
And
There you
basically, that's how we travelled back in time.
Yeah, not that hard.
That is the very basic version.
Yeah.
All right, so they try to contact Zordon.
Yes.
Should Zordon not just be up the road?
Yeah. Sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think about that, but yeah, absolutely he should.
I don't know necessarily that Zordon's been on Earth for all 10,000 years that Rita was there, but I feel like he's been there for at least 200.
Yeah, I mean, like, where else would he be? Like, why would he come to Earth at a specific time?
Although, at the same time, wouldn't it be really weird if, like, Angel Grove is this undeveloped plain, and in the distance, in the mountains, you can see a building
Yeah.
better than any building? Like, people would have investigated the building.
Maybe it's just in a secluded spot. It could be cloaked or something.
We do know that it is quite hard to get to in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could very well be there.
Anyway, they can't get to Zordon in the present or the future,
Yep.
which is the past and the present.
Uh-huh.
Time travel is tough to discuss just because of the tenses of your verbs.
Yes.
Anyway, Bulk and Skull in the present wake up. Bulk wonders where the wizard is. Skull asks him if he had beans for lunch because he always has weird dreams when he has beans.
That's 2 levels of unnecessarily and weirdly specific knowledge about Bulk's life from Skull.
Yep. It's like Bulk says, I had a weird dream, and Skull goes to his chart of what Bulk ate for lunch, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's a 100% correlation. It's just, you got to stop doing it.
He should, A, stop recording what Bulk eats, and B, stop asking about Bulk's dreams.
I imagine Bulk is the sort of person who would tell you about his dreams.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so the Green Ranger, he says to Tommy, I know all about you. I know all your secrets and weaknesses. I was hoping he'd reveal a secret.
Yeah, but
Like,
no, there's no secrets.
You know, a very, like, soft secret.
Yeah.
But a secret.
I know you're secretly Native American. You haven't told anyone yet.
He's like 1/64th Native American.
No, in the show, Tommy is Native American.
Yeah, he's like 1/64th Native American.
I don't think 1/64th. The significant heritage.
Anyway, so evil Tommy basically says, look, I know everything about you.
Yeah.
Why not just give up? I mean, you know, what's the point? We could have a fight, but I know everything about you, so give up? And Tommy's like, well, if you know everything about me, you know I'm not going to give up. Which is a fair point.
It's a fair point. And it's like, even if that wasn't true, it's still not a good point. Like, I would say I know a lot about you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean if we had a fight, I'd be like, well, I know a lot about you, so you should not fight. Like, give up and let me win.
I mean, I guess if I was facing an evil clone of myself,
Yeah.
who I know by default can at least fight me to a standstill,
Yeah.
but also is evil, he's going to win.
But he doesn't have the conviction of good on his side.
Yeah, but he'll kick me in the nuts.
It's pretty evil.
Yeah, right? And like that's a quick win for him. And I know he knows that because I know that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, good point.
Don't fight yourself evil. You got to swap with someone else. Everyone knows that's how it works.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so in the command center, Alpha reveals that there's some sort of disturbance in the morphing grid. So he turns on the viewing globe and says, oh shit, there's two Tommies.
Yeah.
And Zordon says, well, now we know what the wizard was doing.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
You didn't think, oh, my evil arch rival, the wizard, is on Earth. Maybe I'll keep an eye on everyone just to see what's going on.
No.
He could just
It's
watch
fine,
the
bro.
wizard all the time.
Yeah,
The globe can see everything.
But he knows that it'll just be the wizard standing about 4 feet off the ground on different objects. It gets boring after a while.
And they also reveal that the Power Rangers don't seem to be anywhere in Angel Grove.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
Where could they be?
who knows?
If only the enemy would drop some cryptic hint in 3 to 4 minutes' time.
Oh, all right. So Tommy goes, it's morphing time. And evil Tommy says, I was hoping you'd say that. He could just morph.
No, I like the line. I don't mind it.
My favourite thing is Tommy says it's morphing time, turns to face the camera, puts his right arm behind his back like they always do.
Yep.
And then holds that pose while the White Ranger does it.
Yep.
Like the morphing sequence cannot kick off until everybody in the room is ready.
It's tradition. Yeah, and I like that evil Tommy also turns to face the camera as well.
He should have turned to face the other way because he's evil. So they start fighting.
Yes.
When their blows collide, there's like green and white sparks.
It looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the Blinovich limitation effect.
Sorry, what?
That's the thing in Doctor Who that happens when two people who are the same person touch in time.
Ah, nerd.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for bringing up a nerdy thing on this, our Power Rangers podcast.
Yeah, just look, there's a time and a place, Michael, all right?
Yeah, all right.
What's interesting to me is that they actually got those costumes flown to Australia, apparently.
Yeah.
Because that's like an Australian location, which I would have thought the easy thing to do would be just get two stuntmen to do those scenes in the US.
No, they're clearly still in the same location.
Yeah.
Although it does appear that they're in several different locations.
Yes.
I love this show. So the wizard kind of pops out
Yep.
and says, yes, morph. It's exactly what I want you to do.
Which, like, there's no reason for that. That does not pay off in any way.
Not this episode.
No. It's weird seeing the Green Ranger costume again, though.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. It's almost a pity that it's still that shitty floppy shield.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to be a reminder that that's how the Green Ranger looked a lot of the time. But it is cool to see that outfit being used again.
Yeah. It's a cool fight, kind of. They do a lot of the same moves. I think there's one, like, Tommy's jump spin kick that he always does.
Yeah.
That they do each about 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Taking turns.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a cool fight in that it definitely demonstrates the fact that they are exactly even and they can't quite get an advantage on each other.
Yeah.
I guess it was like Jason David Frank and maybe Johnny Young Bosch in the other suit or something like that.
Probably just 2 Tommy stuntmen they said, look, we know you guys normally do 1 week on, 1 week off. Can you guys just both come in tomorrow? And we've got a thing.
One of them's a real douchebag. The other one's quite a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so back in the past...
Oh, did we get to the bit where the wizard intervenes and kind of ruins the fight?
Well, I mean, that hasn't happened yet, but we might as well cover it now.
Right.
Yeah, the wizard's just like, okay, no one's ever going to win this. Zaps Tommy from behind. And then, I guess, drains his energy?
I guess. He gets unmorphed, basically. And then, like the second episode in the row, where Tommy could have just been murdered because he's unconscious lying underneath a villain, and then just gets left there to have a nice nap.
They walk over a couple of steps away, and he says, look, we're going to summon the Dragon Zord. That's the next step.
Yeah.
But why don't you go see Zordon and make sure he knows it is I who's behind the destruction of the Power Rangers? Sure, I guess. Back in the past, some soldiers hear the Rangers talking and kind of surprise them, and one of them is Skull.
Dun, dun, dun.
Were you expecting that?
No, it was really cool.
Yeah. It's not actually Skull.
No, it's the actor who plays Skull playing one of his descendants, presumably.
Ancestors.
Sorry. Yep.
Other way around.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's nice.
It's good to give those guys some flexibility because they're probably the best actors in the show.
Yep.
And that's never utilised except for these little things. So it's good to see the guy who plays Skull get to play a serious character.
So this part, though, makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Billy says, it's all right, I can explain. Rocky, just play along. And then Billy goes, look, if I can just have a moment of your time, I can explain everything. Now, to jump ahead, what basically happens is Billy goes, we're from the future. And they go, you're under arrest. And everybody just runs.
There was definitely no second draft of this script.
Why did Rocky have to play along? What was...
Yeah, there's no deception.
Is it just to stop Rocky from saying something dumb? It's like Rocky will be so distracted by, okay, shit, I'm in character. I'm a friend of his. Yes, whatever's happening. Oh, God, we're running.
I like to think that they just have to tell Rocky that all of the time in any situation.
Let's go to class. Rocky, play along.
Yeah. Pretend you know what class is, Rocky.
In the command center, the evil Green Ranger teleports in.
Yeah.
And Alpha goes, hey, Tommy. Wait, whoa, hold the fucking phone.
It's actually a pretty good spit take for a robot.
And Zordon goes, no, it is the evil Green Ranger. And Alpha's like, yeah,
I got it. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Don't rub it in.
I was confused for a second. I'm on board.
I was definitely expecting a third evil CD to come out and be put in Alpha, but
I'm pretty sure this is the footage from Green with Evil.
Yeah, I don't remember him shaking his fist at the viewing globe in quite the same way, but maybe.
It seems unlikely for this show to have shot that again.
That's true.
So basically Zordon's like, the wizard, he's evil.
Yeah, you should not do evil things. And then Tommy's like, whatever, I'm evil.
Yeah. And Zordon says, right, well, before you destroy me, why don't you tell me the plan? And Tommy's like, I'm not going to tell you the plan. Bye. He doesn't...
Well, he says, I'm not going to tell you the plan, but what I will say is that the Rangers are somewhere where history's happening all over again. And then, leaves.
He doesn't, destroy Zordon or destroy the consoles. Or...
No, the consoles are a bit fucked up. It doesn't show that, but there's wires and stuff exposed. But...
I suspect because it's the footage from the last time when he did do that. It's just his job is to go, hey, Zordon, here's a clue. Bye.
Yeah. It's such a nothing scene. And we say clue, but that it doesn't make any sense.
No.
At all.
It's a Batman 66 clue.
Yeah.
It's it came from the sea. C for Catwoman. Back on the moon, Lord Zed wants to put a baby into Rita.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Does his penis look like the rest of him?
I mean, I assume it's got a metal outer casing.
It's got a little hat?
Yeah.
It's got a little Z on the end.
The weird thing is that we know that happens at some point because Rita and Zed have a kid eventually.
Yes, who will come back in 15 years or so.
Yeah. So that's weird to think about.
Yep. At this point, though, Rita is 100% not down for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if she doesn't want to have kids, or if she doesn't want to have Lord Zed's kid, or if
All of the above.
If she just, at this point, she's really focusing on her career, trying
That's
to take
right.
over the world. Kids maybe down the track when she's 900, but not now.
That's right. You've got stuff to do in your life, and you've got to figure out what you want to do and when to prioritize these things. Otherwise, it gets away from you.
Yeah, you can't just have a kid just because a guy is like, time for me to put a baby in you.
Yeah.
No.
And if anything, it's like they've been married a few weeks.
Yeah, it's way too soon.
Just because you're dancing doesn't mean you get that level. You got to earn that.
This has been marriage advice with Ranger Danger. So she runs away to Finster
Yep.
and basically says, okay, potion got me into this mess. I need another potion so that Lord Zed will forget that he wants to give me a baby.
Yeah.
And Finster's like, right, well,
Small issue. I don't know what I put in the first potion.
first, you guys should have a baby. That'd
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah, he's totally on board for some reason.
Finster is the friend who, she comes to him really seriously and says, look, I'm having a baby. I don't want to have a baby. Can we do something about that? And Finster leads with,
I love babies.
I love babies.
Yeah, not appropriate, Vincent.
Bloody Finster.
Yeah.
All right, so the Power Rangers are running away from the soldiers.
Yep.
There's some sheep.
There is some sheep and a sheepdog.
There's an incredibly low fence that holds the soldiers up for a bit.
Yep.
There's a carriage nearby, and they kind of run after it. Marissa recognises it as her Uncle Ben's carriage.
Yeah.
And so they jump on the back, and it rides them away from the soldiers.
Yeah.
Matt, who is Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben is Bulk.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope they don't get too attached to him because he's probably going to die soon to inspire his nephew to become Spider-Man.
Oh, is she going to become Spider-Man?
God, that would be so cool.
Right?
I'd be down with that.
Imagine if she came back to the future with them and got the Green Ranger's powers and became a time-displaced Green Ranger.
That would be pretty rad.
Wouldn't that be fucking rad?
Not gonna
That would
happen.
be so much better than anything this show has for us.
Yes, definitely. Now I'm sad.
Yeah. All right, so the wizard... okay.
Oh, do you think this guy is the uncle of Japanese Spider-Man?
That makes no sense.
Yes, it
But
does.
sure. How?
Because there's big robots in both. Right?
He's 200 years earlier than Japanese Spider-Man.
We don't know how this ends up. It could be that when the Rangers get sent back in time, he gets caught up in the time stream
And gets sent to 1980s Japan.
Yeah, I mean not 980s because it'd have to be like 1960s.
Oh, yeah, 1960s Japan.
Yeah.
Well, look, Matt, if that happens, you will win... I don't know, I'll make you an actual medal.
Yes.
All right. All right. So, history is repeating itself.
Yeah, I guess.
Zordon says to Alpha, right, well, I've figured it out now. They're in the past. It could have just been an expression.
Yeah.
They might have been in, Goldar's dungeon.
Yep. And
The Dark Dimension, that other planet that they went to, the Island of Illusion. There's lots of
they could be in the
places-
park.
There's lots of places they could be that aren't Angel Grove.
Yep.
That you would describe as being like history is repeating itself.
Yep.
They're not in any of those.
No, they're in the past. Yeah.
So he tells Alpha to start at the present day and work your way backward.
Maybe start like a day before the present day. They're probably not in today.
Yeah, I mean, it seems unlikely. If they were in the past 40 years, you'd know.
Yeah.
So why not just start then?
Yeah.
They're going to scan for genetic markers, which,
Sure.
yeah, I
Why
guess. So the wizard, he decides he's going to go back in time now.
Yep.
And, just
Make sure everything's cool.
check out what's going on.
Yep.
It seems unnecessary.
Definitely.
If he just waits 60 to 80 years, the Power Rangers will be dead.
Yeah. He's probably only going to cause them to accidentally come back to the present day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's just putting further risk into the plan.
So Aisha, they're all at Uncle Ben's farm.
Yep.
And they're kind of taking a break to figure out what's going on, what we're going to do. Aisha's sitting against a shack.
Yep.
She thinks Rocky's foot is tickling her back. It's
Which
two
is
rats.
A weird, gross thing for Rocky to have been doing, but not out of character.
Yep. It's two rats.
Yep.
Oh, look, the wizard's on top of another thing.
Ta-da! He always appears about 4 feet off the ground on top of something.
Yeah.
In this case, it's there's a pillar, with like a smaller pillar next to it that he can stand on.
Yeah, it's like maybe some sort of like grain silo or something like
Yeah.
that. It's
I appreciate his theatricality.
the best part is he always appears just immediately
Yep.
on top of something.
Yep.
And we don't see, there's no like effect to his appearance.
He's just like,
We
"Hey,
just
what up?"
cut to where he is,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he is there.
Yeah. I love it. I really like him as a character for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's a terrible design,
Yeah.
and he's acted average.
Yeah.
But something about just the way he spontaneously appears wherever is just...
And the fact that he's just so casual about everything,
Yep.
you know?
So he says, "Oh, you don't like rats? Well, rat monsters."
Yep.
Matt,
They're super creepy.
they're so fucking terrible.
They look like they have so many different diseases.
But the other thing is, they look like if you went out and bought a rat costume.
Yeah.
They look like that.
Definitely.
They don't look like monsters. They look like people in rat costumes.
They really do. And they have human legs very clearly.
Yeah.
Like they're not proportioned in any sort of rat way.
I don't understand how anyone ever thought that they could be in the film.
No. But to be fair, there's some pretty shitty effects in the film too. So, yeah.
All right, so this next bit is just... They try to morph.
Yeah.
And they put their hands behind their back, as they normally do.
And no morpher.
No, it's not working.
Yeah.
So, first of all, their morphers aren't on their backs, which makes no sense.
Yep.
Basically, what they say is, "Oh, we're 200 years before we met Zordon, so we don't have our powers."
Which, fine, if you want to go that route with time travel, that's great.
No, that's nonsense.
But they're also 200 years before that style of shirt was invented.
yeah, exactly.
He's still able to
They're
wear the
200
shirt.
years before they were born, but they can be there.
Yeah. There's some seriously faulty logic there.
Even if you just said that, like, they can't connect to the morphing grid because things are different.
Yeah.
But the way it's worded is, this is before we got our powers, therefore we cannot morph.
Yeah.
Which just...
It doesn't work.
There's another interesting thing, right? So they put their hands behind their backs, and that's when they go, "We're not morphing."
Yep.
That implies that the act of holding their morpher in front of them
Yeah.
doesn't happen like in real space. That's part of the transformation.
To me, it was almost like this scene implies that part of the act of morphing is like pulling the morpher out of some subspace dimension.
Right. And so when you go, like, you say it's morphing time.
Yeah.
And that tells the morpher,
To come
right,
to you.
I'm ready now.
Yeah.
You grab it.
Yeah.
And then your morphing begins.
Yeah. The only problem with that is that we've seen that the morphers exist physically
Yes.
a lot of times.
Yeah, Goldar took Jason's away from him and he couldn't morph because of that.
Yeah. So, doesn't hold up any way you look at it.
Yeah. So they start running away.
Yeah.
They're all still incredibly competent martial artists.
And they're just big rats. Like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, look,
You might get some gross disease, but it's not going to kill you straight
it'd
away.
be worth at least trying and seeing how strong they are.
Yeah.
You know, if they've done a couple of punches and nothing's working, you go, they're too strong, we'd normally have to morph, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
But they might go down in a punch. I feel like if you punch a rat, that's going to hurt a rat.
But it's sort of like that proportionate size and strength thing. You know, it's going to be 100 times stronger than a rat, right?
Maybe?
So, like, I feel like if a rat was 100 times stronger than itself, it'd take more than a punch. It's just math.
So they start running away.
Yep.
And they run past a cottage. The wizard shoots a lightning bolt at the cottage, and a water barrel in front of the cottage explodes.
Oh no, the barrel of water.
I'm sure they couldn't afford to blow up a small cottage.
Especially not in old Sydney town.
But, like, why even do this incredibly underwhelming thing instead?
But that water, there's so many stakes. Yeah. I can't do it. It's so dumb.
In the present, Evil Tommy tries to summon the Dragon Sword.
Yes.
What do you reckon the Dragon Sword's been up to?
I was chilling.
Just chilling at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, hang out with sharks.
Is
Probably
it-
have some shark buddies.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
Like, if people went scuba diving,
Yep.
as people are wont to do in Angel Grove, could you just stumble across the... Can you imagine anything more terrifying than going for a swim in, like, Sydney Harbour and discovering a giant dragon robot?
Oh, I'd definitely have a heart attack. I would die in
Because, like,
the
it's
water.
got a face.
Yeah.
And, you would think, oh, fuck, Godzilla is real.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be that guy at the start of Godzilla.
Yeah. Although, to me, it'd be, like, in a deep, deep trench somewhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't just dive down there. You'd need to get James Cameron's special submarine and go and find it.
Can you imagine if next week James Cameron announced a press conference? He's discovered a giant robot.
He found the dragon
They were
sword.
shooting Avatar 3 Deep Sea or whatever it is, and they discovered a giant robot.
But yeah, I think if they could lose the Titanic for 50 years, you could hide the Dragon Zord.
Sure. It raises the question of why they can't quite use the Dragon Zord.
Because it's tied to the Green Ranger's powers, which have faded.
Well, are they though? Because it seems really easy to recreate.
Yeah, I mean,
You just need someone's hair.
they probably could have just given Tommy a haircut, which they should have done anyway, outside of any power-based questions. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. We'll get to see the Dragon Zord again, though.
Yeah. So Tommy does the Dragon Zord summoning tune
About 8 times.
5 times.
Yeah.
It's so many times that the show doesn't even give enough of a shit about the last one to let it play completely.
They cut the last one up exactly halfway through.
I like to think that it's like an alarm for the Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Zord's had 60-ish episodes to nap.
Yeah.
So he's just like, snooze.
Yeah.
Hit the snooze button. And then after 5, he's like, oh, fuck, what time? Oh, God, I'm going to be late to work. All right, time to get up.
Yeah.
But it's actually really well cut, this sequence. We cut between, like, the Dragon Zord slowly waking up and water starting to bubble, evil Tommy blowing the tune, and, like, regular Japanese dock workers at the docks that the Dragon Zord's going to smash his way through.
Yeah.
It actually effectively ramps up the tension.
And it's well done, too, in that they choose the shots where the workers are always turned slightly away from camera.
So you can't see that they're Japanese.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they add some, like, you know, American voices being like, oh, this is a thing happening.
G'day, mate. Gotta move the packages. Boxes and stuff. I don't know what they do at ships.
That's about as good as it is in the episode. But yeah, it's cool. Like, the Dragon Zord's coming back.
Yeah.
That's tension building.
It would be amazing if, and I know there's zero chance, if they'd gotten the suits back to shoot a Dragon Zord, Tiger Zord fight.
Might still happen.
Yeah, that's going to happen in this show.
Well, I expect if it happens, it would be a cut.
Oh, yeah, it will be the Dragon Zord shooting its missiles, the Tiger Zord stepping back in explosions, and then reverse that for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then Lord Zed gloats. He says the Power Rangers are history, and he's so enamoured of his own pun that he just laughs until the end of the episode.
Yep. And that's how we end.
You know, when you kind of go back through it, some stuff happens. It does. What happens, the thing is, it doesn't change anyone's situation.
Exactly. We could have picked up with the events of next episode, not having seen this episode, and be pretty on board with things very quickly.
Yes.
Like, the only difference is that the evil guy goes back in time.
Yep.
And that's it.
Tommy's fought his evil self.
Yep. So, yeah.
Is this an Aisha, do you reckon?
I think
It's
so.
not bad. It just doesn't do anything. So, yeah, an Aisha, you reckon?
I think so, definitely. It wasn't terrible. There was no egregiously bad things.
Yeah.
But
It just wasn't great either.
you know, I think the only thing that started being a rocky for me was the effective Dragon Zord stuff in the last minute of the show.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you think the Power Rangers are going to get back to the present?
I feel like Zordon will find them using the genetic markers and just teleport them back.
Yeah, that does sound likely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then they'll make a giant monster and...
I'm more excited to see how this Dragon Zord thing plays out.
Yep.
Like, are they going to fight the Dragon Zord? That would be cool. It seems unlikely, but I'd be down for it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, all right.
Unfortunately, the evil wizard did not hide in any bushes this week.
No.
So
So
he-
he's got 2 more to go.
He's got to get 2 in the last episode, which seems unlikely, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he might do it and crack a spot in the top 10.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll guys see you guys next week for part 3, the probably underwhelming conclusion.
Yeah, we'll bring it home then. See you then, guys.